Hello and welcome to Unplugged, an IoT podcast where we explore the exciting world of industrial Internet of Things and automation. I'm your host, Phil Seboa.
Hello, Phil. Good to see you again. Hello, everyone. My name is Ed Fuentes. Well, Phil, we have a very special guest today. We're going to dive into a very important topic that I think we both believe around understanding not just the IoT and automation, but all the software and all the opportunity to learn the software that's associated to it. And we've got someone very special that is a trailblazer in making the space accessible even for beginners to start learning that trajectory from control systems all the way to IoT. And he's Rajvir Singh. And Rajvir is a mechatronics engineer. He's an educator. He's the founder of Code and Compile. That's a platform that helps thousands of learners. I know you too, Phil, have seen his content worldwide, master the automation concepts. Now, Raj, before I introduce you, I want to let all the listeners know that Raj has very kindly given us a special offer on his Code and Compile website, but we will tell you that at the end of the podcast. Welcome to the show, Raj.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, and thank you. I'm really honored to be here, and I'm happy and excited to share my decade of experience in automation and IoT.
Well, I can certainly tell you that I've been a follower of yours for many years now, from my early days of exploring PLC Next as well at Phoenix Contact. So I can definitely say that I've been following you for a while, if that doesn't sound too stalkerish, I guess.
No, totally fine. You're totally fine with that.
It's actually quite good because, as Phil mentioned, one of the things that we encourage our automation, especially I do a lot with people in automation PLC program, is to get into this other side of coding. So yeah, we're excited to see where this session goes today.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
So Raj, your journey into IoT and automation has been pretty inspiring from my point of view. Can you tell us what drew you into the field and how you started helping other people through your platform?
Oh, well, if you like lifting stories, I can start back in 2004, how it began.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, when I was 16, so today I'm 36, almost 20 years ago, I was clueless about what to do in my life. So some of my family friends told us, hey, you can do this diploma course in mechatronics. And mechatronics was a new one 20 years ago. And I was like, okay, if you say so, because that guy has an industry, he was running productions, and I thought, okay, he knew more than me, obviously. So I did this diploma course. And funny thing, which I will tell you in the end, I was working on some German mechatronic stations from Germany. They were that time in our university. I was like, oh, well, that's very nice. I would love to work for this company in the future. That was 20 years ago in India, when I had no clue what to do in my life. So I joined this diploma course. I did these trainings, and then I started working for a company that was a photovoltaic cell manufacturer. And I quit in 3 months. The reason was I could see all the things, all the factory was fully automated, but there was no learning. I was working as a maintenance engineer, and I wanted to do things in my head. I wanted to learn things. And all my job was to see if something goes bad, react. At that time, there was no IIoT. There was a physical maintenance plan. So you have to do things physically, right? You have to check machine physically. There is a problem. There was no sensors, no IIoT, nothing. I was like, okay, this is a bit boring for me. I can't wait for things to happen and then react. And I'm just waiting there doing nothing. So I quit my job, and I did work as a PLC programmer for 1 year, where I did a lot of projects. I went to industries. I did check the machine, install PLC, program their sequences, install VFDs, HMI. Things were going good. But in India, when you are working in 2008 as an engineer, you can't imagine how much I was earning. It was about 300 euros per year. Per year. That was my salary. And then I speak to the same guy who said, hey, do mechatronics. Say, hey, look at what I'm getting here. He said, hey, Raj, don't worry. If you're learning, just invest your time in learning. I said, okay, I do that what you say. So I was just learning a lot. Eventually, I learned a lot. I learned about machine controls, how to program PLCs. I forgot the money. I was just learning for 1 year. And then I wanted to extend my career. And in India, it is a thing that if you have just diploma, you can't have a higher position in the company. You have to study more. And then I went to I did my bachelor in instrumentation. I went to a college. And during this college, it was crazy because their knowledge in the teachers and in the labs was very limited. Sorry to say that, but that was a real fact. And I came from 1 year of experience in the industry, and I came to a university where they are still teaching very, very less about industry and automation, which should be, because I joined instrumentation as a bachelor. And I've realized there is a big gap between education and the industry. So I thought, okay, what can I do now? Let's help my friends and students to present what I did in my last year. So I was hosting seminars, I was hosting some in-house trainings, some workshops in the school. That was the beginning of my teaching career. So I thought, okay, this is going great. I love to teach. I love to share what I learned. And then things were going good. In the second year of my bachelor, I started my own training academy in India. That time it was called NFI. So not many people know today because this was changed to Code and Combine later on. So I had my training academy. I had an investor who invested on my idea. So we have a lab with PLCs, pneumatics, HMI, servos, and it was going great. But, another problem came, the dragons always keep coming in your story. So the problem was, in India, you have to be very smart when it comes to sales and marketing. And it's a real fact that time when I have to get students, I have to go to a separate way. I have to do a dirty way. I have to fill the pockets of those decision makers in the university to organize some seminars. So, which I didn't like it because I don't want to give some bribe to them just to share good knowledge with the student. This is wrong. And I thought, okay, this is another problem. What should we do? That time, it was 2010 already, and I started my YouTube channel. And in this YouTube channel, I started making some videos. And with these videos, I got to reach more audience all around the world. Because YouTube is global. You search on it, you find the videos. And that time, there were not many PLC videos. So I started YouTube in 2010. And this went really well. And then I started publishing my courses on PLC. This is just about PLCs HMI, no IIoT yet. So I published my courses on Udemy, and that time Udemy was the most famous platform. You don't have to do anything, just upload courses. So it was doing good. And then come a point 2015 where I was a bit saturated with the knowledge that I could get in India. I thought, okay, I should go abroad and do something more. Then I started my master's in mechatronics in 2015. I moved to Germany. And then I studied at a university close to Cologne. It's a city called Siegen. And during that time, I get exposed to a lot of companies because there are many automation fairs in Germany. I went there, I talked about my profile, I connected with them, and then I was getting some content creation tasks, content creation videos. And then I started making some videos, expanded my knowledge, started learning IIoT, started with Node-RED because that was the software you could free and use. And I did several projects during my university. And then I started working as a development engineer, international trader at a company in South Germany called Christiani. I worked there for 5 years. And during these 5 years, I created some projects related to smart factories. And there I implemented all the IIoT tools. And that's when I decided, okay, this is what I have learned now. I should share it with my audience because I already had a YouTube channel that Udemy courses. And then I started, okay, so if Udemy, let's start my new school. So I started Code and Combine in 2017 or 2018. And then I put all my videos in one platform to share what I learned. So this has been my journey, starting from a guy in India, not doing anything but to chill, and now sitting here with you sharing my knowledge.
Wow, there's a lot to unwrap there, Raj. What a journey. I suppose it's a bit of an evolution in the way that you mentioned how you started with PLC, HMIs, and probably towards the latter part of it, you said at the beginning there was no such thing as IIoT when you sort of first started in mechatronics. Mm-hmm. You moved across to PLC, HMI, training and teaching, and then you moved to this more Node-RED and the other sort of, let's call it IIoT-friendly software. I suppose just for the benefit of the listeners here, a lot of them are still trying to figure out what does IIoT actually mean or refer to. Can you break it down? Because you went through that from PLC, HMI into this space. What does it? Break it down. Why is it such a game changer?
All right. So for me, IIoT means, let's say I give an example for someone who doesn't know what is IIoT or listening for the first time. So let's say we have a conveyor and there are some boxes traveling on it. And after a while, this conveyor is having some problems because the motor has some wear and tear, and then there's a breakdown. How come the maintenance people to change it? This is a typical scenario, traditional scenario where there's no IIoT. Now let's take another scenario where this process is optimized with IIoT tools. In this scenario, this motor most probably will have some vibration sensor to detect how it is working. If it's too much heated or if there is too much wear and tear, because if there's wear and tear, there'll be some vibrations. And then once the sensor senses this vibration, it will go to some smart device, or you can call it an edge device, which will monitor the pattern of vibration. Is it a normal vibration or is it abnormal? At what pace it is increasing? And then based on this analytics, it can give some warnings or some messages to the maintenance engineer or the in charge saying, hey, I'm going to fail in 1 month. So plan the preventive or predictive maintenance, plan the maintenance schedule and change me. So when you have this information, you can stop your breakdowns or you can change the motor when there is no production going on. So you are informed about the future failures already. This will increase the efficiency and it will reduce breakdowns and reduce cost. So that's the difference. So IIoT is basically utilizing some tools to make your system smarter and efficient and safer.
Yeah, no, Phil, I've seen some customers, you're right, they got the motor, the conveyor, and they start adopting IoT. They adopted it like piecemeal. I'll just put a vibration sensor, see what other data I get out of this. There must be somewhere where they connect, because that's what I'm finding is they do the vibration or the smart IoT, but it's not connected to, or they're finding it hard to integrate into the current systems. Are those challenges that you see as well?
Yeah, there are many challenges. For example, when you say connecting to the existing system, one way is you totally replace the existing system. Customers are not ready to replace it. So you can start with replacing some elements of the existing system. For example, this conveyor example I told you, you don't have to replace anything. Just add an extra sensor on the motor and connect this to some IO-Link master, and then connect it to an edge device. So your existing system is still running, but you're just connecting extra element on top to extract the data out and telling the customer, look, this is what I find out after adding this IoT devices or the whole infrastructure to tell you your future failures, and this is how it can save your cost. One way for sure it is you can reduce existing system as well, but if the customer is convinced, because most of the time, customer is not convinced. You have to show them some early adoption, or maybe you can make a prototypes to tell them how it's going to affect your process in the end. And another challenge is for sure you have interoperability issues. For example, some devices are running on protocols which are not supported on IIoT. For example, RS-232, you can't directly connect your edge device. So you need to have some connectors or bridge that will bridge your old communication protocol with the new one, like Seboa or MQTT, to process the data efficiently. So some of these challenges are for sure there, but I believe if you know the right product or right approach, you can solve your issues. And one of the biggest challenges, I recently went to SPS Nuremberg to know about, which was the cybersecurity. Because when you say IIoT, basically you are connecting internet to your existing system. And when internet is involved, you know that it could be, there could be some risk that you need to handle. So there are certain attacks people are doing, especially on Modbus, because Modbus is not secure. So if you're having Modbus running in your system, you have to make some extra layer of security on top, because this can be easily hacked. So cybersecurity is one of the biggest challenges, I believe, today.
Yeah, that's definitely, I guess, one of the conversation pieces that we're having quite frequently is around that cybersecurity and how they can add these additional layers to their, I guess, stack within their organizations to then, I guess, change the methodology around that cybersecurity. They've been, for many years air gapping their systems, potentially just trying to close it off to the outside world. And then, then I guess the industry is moving forward to connect it to the internet. So they have to evolve and they have to adapt, right? And you start using these modern approach, which means that they have to at least understand some of the threat actors out there and what potential risks their systems are vulnerable to as well. So yeah, adopting all these, I guess, technology stacks comes with, I guess, those challenges, as you mentioned, and maybe budget constraints is some of that concern as well. So I guess maybe you can help us out here and talk to us about maybe how you can start leveraging open source technology that is freely available. I know you mentioned Node-RED and some of these other platforms as well. Is that something that you see, especially in that learning environment? Learners are definitely cash poor in that sense as well. So yeah, like if you could expand a little bit on what tool sets you're talking about and what you've maybe seen at SPS.
I will actually connect this with the last problem I wanted to discuss. I forgot in the mind. So another challenge is lack of skilled workforce in IIoT. So when you're implementing something new, and if your workforce is not skilled, they are like, oh, wow, what is this? We don't know what is this. How do we work on that? The problem is you have to teach them. You have to make them ready for this IIoT challenges and the new solutions. So talking about how to learn IIoT. When I started implementing IIoT, that's another story. My manager said, hey, I want to make a dashboard for this mechatronics station. I will not name it. I said, okay, let's use Ignition or any other software. He said, no, I want something open source. At that time, it was, I think, 2018. I didn't know any open source tool. I was searching. There was no ChatGPT to tell me what can I do. And then I accidentally ended up on Node-RED. It's like, oh, wow, this is a great software. And in Node-RED, you can use flows, you can use nodes. You don't have to actually type a code. You do, but not so much. And then I came across Node-RED and I realized how powerful, this is such a powerful platform because you can interact with your machine, you can extract data. So that time I was working on Siemens PLCs, which has OPC server inside. So I could easily connect to Siemens PLC by Node-RED. So Node-RED is one of my favorite tools, which you can download for free or install for free. And it's open source and not just talking to PLC. So I extract the data and then I manipulate the data and I show it on the dashboard. This was my task back then. It was just in my mind, okay, Node-RED is for dashboards. But no, this is just one part of Node-RED. So you can do dashboards. And nowadays, there are some TensorFlows, which are some libraries from Google, which are also open source, free to use. You can send your data to this TensorFlow libraries to do some analytics for you. And then you can get the data back to make some decisions. So if you are a learner and if you have no money to invest on expensive hardware or software, start with Node-RED. And if you can afford, just buy a Raspberry Pi, if not a PLC. Because if you have a Raspberry Pi, you can buy some cheap sensors to analyze data. If you just invest 100 euros on this, that's enough. Buy a Raspberry Pi, some sensors, get the sensor data, create some dashboards, use the sensor data, send it to some machine learning models, get the data back, and you will understand how this whole thing working in the industry, if you do this in your home. And if you want to explore more, there are many softwares like Grafana you can also use for dashboards. It's also open source tools. If you want to store your data somewhere, you can use InfluxDB. This is also free to use for database management. And if you want to use some MQTT brokers, you can use Mosquito. That's also free to use. And there are many. There's Hive, NQ. They also have a free version. So internet is now filled with free information. It's all how you implement that in your current project. Or if you have any other tools, maybe you can also educate me. These are the ones I know.
Oh, look, I think you're right. I think when you started out, Raj, that long ago looking for Node-RED, I think if you started again today, you'd find an enormous amount of even more open source. Which actually, I've had a few conversations in the past with many of our control system integrators, encouraging them to, like you, to learn these new software tools. And I feel what you've explained, how you went from that revolution from PLC, HMI to IoT, and you mentioned just before that how we are lacking skill in the industry, especially if we're looking at digital transformation or doing digital transformation projects, the fluency, the ability to learn. And it's not, maybe it's easy or maybe it's not easy. I don't know. I'm a bit older than both of you. So, it takes me a little bit longer to learn some concepts. But let's say someone is beginning out, okay? So they've all got strong automation skill set. They're, industrial automation, like you were, for example. They've downloaded Node-RED, they've got OpenPLC or whatever other open source software. What are some practical projects you think they can do, like that can work? And you mentioned Raspberry Pi. It's a great idea, actually. Low cost. Don't buy a PLC, get a Raspberry Pi. So what projects could they work on that you think they could build confidence?
Let's say when somebody wants to implement a simple IIoT project, right? And first, what he needs to really learn it in a way he should is an industrial environment. Now, it's hard to have an environment when you're sitting in your home with a Raspberry Pi, right? So nowadays there are some simulators. So first you build your OT environment, you build your factory. And there are simulators like Seboa is one of the companies that I work with. They have free to use platform. For example, they have a free version in which you can download a factory scenario on the web browser. It's a browser-based software. And then you can connect your Raspberry Pi with it. So you don't have to pay anything. There are some factory scenarios which are free to use. I also used Factory IO before I knew Seboa. It has 30 days trials, and then you have to pay for the license. But Seboa is totally free. So first you build your factory. So if you don't want to build a huge factory, you can just build a conveyor, some motors, some sensors, some pick-and-place robots. This is enough. So once you have your OT system ready, then you connect, let's say, Raspberry Pi, because there are some tools like OpenPLC, which can be installed in Raspberry Pi. So your Raspberry Pi will act as a PLC controller. And then you can connect the IOs with your OpenPLCs with Seboa and control the system. And then, actually, we have some tutorials on that as well in Seboa Academy. This is one of the academy I'm also taking care of. So there you can learn everything, how you can do this interface. So once you have this interface done, once you're controlling your scenario, then you can extract the data out. You can use Node-RED. With Node-RED, you can connect to OpenPLC via Modbus TCP because it has Modbus TCP layer on top. And then once you have the data in your Node-RED, then as I said before, you can connect to the other tools. So if you're not sure which industrial system you want to build, there are some ready-to-use systems inside. But if you want to build it yourself, you can for sure build it as well in Seboa or any other simulation tool. So my approach is always to make learning fun and exciting. So if I just imagine, hey, let's simulate a sensor, it's not fun for me. I want to see real things happening on the floor. So that's why all the tools that I recommend is the one that I have gone through before and I've been using in my trainings as well, and which are quite impressive. And I have so many feedbacks from the people saying, yeah, you're really engaging in your training content. So I would say check some simulation software, add some OpenPLC or Raspberry Pi with it. Otherwise, my second favorite software is CodeAssist, which you can also use without a Raspberry Pi. We can simulate as well. And then use Node-RED and possibilities are English after that.
Yeah, I really loved the factory IO simulator. That was like a turning point for me, because I actually did do the 30-day trial to try and get something tangible, right, from that. And that was kind of like the launching point for my home automation system, because I was like, okay, the 30 days of trials up and done, and like, what am I going to do next here? And that really was actually the exploration of Maker Edition of Ignition. So that was a good segue into some, actually getting some tangible results and having a lot of fun getting there as well. The great thing is that you kind of taught me, as well as Kudzai Manditeresa as well, creating this content around MQTT and a PLC software and all these kind of different facets of building that portfolio of knowledge to be able to develop these applications. It's been really actually great value for someone who's specifically gone through that journey as well. So firstly, I want to thank you for putting that content out there, because you've created so many engineers and from it as well. So that's pretty cool. I guess hurdles, we kind of fight through, I guess, learning hurdles as well. We've talked about getting the right software platform, I guess some of that mentality around, you know, trying to get things off the ground. I guess so we've talked about, I guess, practical applications and building them out. Where can they go next, right? What should they be doing? What should they be looking for? How can they move that next section out? What should they be learning potentially?
Well, I can be a content creator, and as owner of Code Compiler, I can first advertise myself and say, hey, go to Code Compiler and do some courses. And this is the best time because it's a Black Friday. I have an offer where you can get everything in a very less price. So Code Compiler is a platform which I created, and I have several learning paths there. So if you go to my course page, there is a button called Learning Paths. And there I have mentioned, if you want to learn PLC programming, which are the courses that you should follow. If you want to learn data visualization, which courses you should follow. If you want to learn digital twin, which courses you should follow. So I have several free courses on my website, which are, one of them is PLC Next, which I created a long time ago. And I have one course on, which is actually I'm working on, is PLC programming using Seboa. So there I'm teaching how to build digital twins completely for free using codistors and Seboa. So I have several courses starting from OT, where I talk about PLC programming, factory automation, SCADA, HMI, AC drive, working controls. And then you can jump to IIoT, where I talk about Node-RED, OPC-UA, MQTT, MySQL. And my recent course was JavaScript Essentials for Node-RED, or someone who's a big fan of Node-RED. And this was actually my need first. When I was working on Node-RED, I didn't know JavaScript at all. And my girlfriend told me, she's an IT developer, hey, actually, you should learn JavaScript. I was like, okay, cool, let's try that. And then I started exploring JavaScript, and I realized there are so many functions that you can use in Node-RED with that, and you can make your program look very simple and easy. So that's what I made a course as well. So I would say Coding Compiler is one of the platforms that I can recommend you. Besides that, there are many courses on LinkedIn Learning. So if you have a premium access to LinkedIn, you can explore many courses. There are great instructors there who are teaching in a very different way than I teach. So you can check these courses as well. Udemy is another marketplace where you can find many courses at a very good price. And so I would say in the end, the information is everywhere. Internet is filled with information at the price that you want. You just need to first talk to yourself. You should know what you want. You should know why you want, and just take a big action. And then you can learn anything that you want eventually in the end. You just need to have time. It is the biggest resource, I would say. More than money, time is the biggest resource, which you could use.
What have you seen being your most popular course at the moment? Yeah. Like what is it over the years? Like has it been a real focus around Node-RED, or what have you seen there?
I think my most popular one is Learn 5 PLCs in a Day is on Udemy. This has more or less 35,000 students, 6,000 reviews. And I recently updated this course because this was created a long time ago when I started making videos. So now I recently updated that with the Schneider PLC, new videos on that as well as Lenza PLC, because this has been sold wide across the world, mostly in Asia. But my second favorite is Node-RED, which is the most famous course so far. And that's why I built the second version of that, which is JavaScript Essentials for Node-RED, because I realized there's a need for people to learn JavaScript before that. So overall, my IIoT bundle is also very famous and quite well absorbed in the market.
I was just saying, I haven't got my ticket yet to Hannover Messe or SPS just yet, so I'm just waiting on that one. But yeah, if you can give us some insight into what SPS was like and what are they showcasing at the moment?
All right, so SPS, I think, stands for Smart Production Solutions, a bit in short. So every year they do in Nuremberg is a city in Germany, and there are about 12 to 13 halls which are filled with companies. And one of the biggest highlight is the Siemens Hall, because usually in a hall you have 20, 25 companies. And when Siemens come, they just book the whole hall. They have so much to show. And this is the main highlight where you can go and see the new products. What are they doing? What are they working on? So it's been quite intrigued by their digital twin environment, which I haven't seen that before, and how you can create your digital twins in Siemens. And then further on, you can see how you can visualize that in VR and how you can use AR technology as well in their systems. So for example, if you have a machine and you want to see the errors in the machine, just put your glasses on. The error will be highlighted in the red. Click on that and you'll see a description. What is the error and how you can solve that? So it makes things very easy. You don't have to go to the manuals anymore. Just wear your smart glasses and you know how to be on the machine. And besides that, I also made a video with Fargo. It's from my client, and we were talking about cybersecurity. So they have a new cybersecurity platform which can detect intrusions, like I said, modbus attacks. You can detect that easily, and then you can secure your network on these attacks. And most of the time, I just go there to connect to my existing clients, just to have a nice chat with them and connect with more people. So it's the biggest platform for networking and get to know products in the market. Another thing that I really liked was Control X Flow. This was technology in which you have motion with magnetic levitation. So it's not even touching the floor. You can move the things around with less frictions. And the similar technology also was introduced by B&R. They also have very good motion control. And if I had to recall more, I went to some of our digital twin companies, which are Germany based. Just wanted to know how they are doing to compare what we are doing in SemaLogic, just on the set. And yeah, that was just the things which are in my mind right now, which I saw in SPS.
So in Germany, is there much adoption for digital twin, or is that everyone clearly talking about it, but is everyone aiming to implement these solutions?
I think so. It has been widely adopted in most of the areas, not even in Germany, in all Europe. And majorly, this is being used now in education. For example, when somebody has to teach robotics, and in the university there's one robot, how many students can learn that? At one time, maybe 5 or 10, and it's too much. So with digital twin, you can make the whole system in your computer, and it will work in the same way like the real system. You can connect your hardware PLC with that, programming the way you want. So the teacher has a wider students now to give them assignments and check it online. So once you start learning digital twin and understand its application in the university level, and when you go to the industry, before implementing a real project, you can create a digital twin of that, do some analytics on that, and see how it's going to perform, how it's going to increase your production, how it's going to give you more profits and reduce downtime. So these things are, I think, quite also being implemented nowadays. Because I work with SemaLogic, I also build systems, and I also build their academies. I talk to customers as well. So in the next few months, we are working with one of the biggest customers in Germany who also want to use digital twin because they have a special conveyor. They want to use it to, they call it, I will not name it because of the data security. They have a special conveyor which they want to use to teach their trainees in the industry. And so they said, hey, we want to build a digital twin of that so that we can expand our training sessions all over the world because they have multinational companies. So this is the biggest or the easiest tool to scale up your trainings with digital twin.
Yeah, we definitely, it's been quite a topic over a number of years now, digital twin. And also on top of that, I suppose what's happening lately is the large language models or LLMs and generative language models as well. So did you see much of that at SPS?
I did not actually have time to explore everything.
Yeah, sure.
It's just 3 days, you know. I wish it would be a week. Because when I speak to one of my clients, I speak an hour or half an hour, we go for a lunch. But I did not actually, one thing I can mention, I went to a booth of Cumulosity, and I had a chance to drive an S1 car, which was a simulator. And so I was inside the car and I was driving it in a simulated track. And based on my performance, I had a feedback from the AI telling me how often I should brake and how often I should race, and what should be my curve at the different curves, how much I should rotate. This was happening in the real time. So my performance was being monitored, my data was being monitored, and in the real time I was getting a feedback how I should drive the car. And they said they're going to implement that in these cars in the future. So
like being coached real time.
Yeah, being coached real time. Or if you're just learning how to drive it. This could also, I can imagine, coming in the real cars when you're driving the road. If you're driving like city, there's a feedback coming in, hey, don't do that, or things like that.
Oh, you can associate that with industry as well, manufacturing, to be coached in real time with data being collected and then being told in your natural language what's happening, what you need to do. It's I suppose also, around so much learning, Raj, we have to take on board. I think you mentioned a couple of really key software packages we should look at as professionals. And I gather you're a learner, you're a lifelong learner, there's no doubt about that. And you're obviously learning new things all the time. So what are some of the things you're learning? What are you looking forward to learning? You've shared a lot so far. I don't even know where to go with this question because I'm a bit scared to ask you that one because you've already pushed it out so far. So what are you looking at in the horizon you're looking towards learning?
Well, my current learning calendars, I think I want to learn more about TensorFlow because I haven't touched that at real. I just know one platform, and perhaps you will see my video in the next week. It's called, I think, Online Teachable, something like that, where you can upload your images, define the classes, and then it will generate a machine learning model for object detection and recognition. So this is what I want to try. And they have several tools in TensorFlow that you can explore for free. So this is one of my target area to learn because there are many use cases in the industries or also in the normal day-to-day life as well. And another thing I want to enhance is my knowledge on Dockers. So I'm going to work with Trainer. It's one of my future clients, and we're going to see how you can deploy applications on the fly, just the Docker containers, how you can pack the applications. And I'm quite interested to see how you can also use Dockers for codices, which I didn't know before. So now if you have a PLC, which is running codices, and now you have a new application, you can just apply as Docker containers, and then you have your PLC program. And these are the two areas that I want to excel in the next months. And for sure, when I reach these two, there will be thousands more coming and hitting my head. Hey, you should learn that as well. But currently I have some projects with digital twin, and recently we introduced an add-on that you can teach using virtual reality glasses. So my next target for the next year is to build some digital labs. And like I said, Seboa can be used for free. I want to build some labs like PLC labs, motion control labs, HMI labs, pneumatics lab, robotics lab. And in this lab, you will have detailed elements of each technology that I talked about. And you can practice that. You can extract the data out, connect to your PLC, and then use it the way you want. That's my next target, to learn and implement as well.
Yeah, that learning curve is quite deep. That's great, Raj. From, I suppose, just going back as we're getting towards the end, some real juice to give back to the automation people. You mentioned Node-RED, that they should be fluent in. I think that's what you brought up. What other, you mentioned OPC, OpenPLC, Raspberry Pi, and some simulation I/O. It's a scary task, right? If you're been in control systems for many years to then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but you mentioned, you asked about what are you interested in, what do you like, and I think Phil asked, what are the key, I can't even say key, just the important ones, that's the wrong word as well, but what have you seen, you talk to automation engineers that they should be focusing on?
So when you say the tools that they can use for, let's say, the OT environment, say start learning codices. Codices is being used a lot in many of the edge devices as well, or many of the VPNs as well. And that's also my next area I want to focus on. I want to create a course of codices. And codices is free. You have, I think, some trial period to run the simulations, but besides that, it's free to use. And there are many, I think, influencers or YouTubers who are offering videos of codices. I don't remember the name by heart, but there's one guy I know from LinkedIn. He's offering many videos of codices. So once you practice codices, this will open up many possibilities, because codices not only is a PLC programming tool, you can also do motion control with that. You can also learn HMIs with that. And they also have IIoT libraries that you can install and directly connect to the broker on the MQTT. You can interact by OPC way. You can also interface with MySQL for database. So it's an all-in-one package that it can offer you to learn. And once you're excellent in codices, second thing is you can, like I said before, jump to Node-RED and go to machine learning models, and you can interface different technologies all together. And yeah, I think these two are the best way to begin with. After that, you will find many tools like TensorFlow. We can explore that as well. But these two I would recommend.
Yeah, I think the main point there is just to get started. Find some small little application that you know, maybe you're walking around the factory and you just want to monitor something, or you want to create a small dashboard. Find a small proof of value type project where you can, the rubber can hit the road. You don't have much budget maybe to get in. You can order an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi and get started, right? That's how everyone starts learning, right? And mostly engineers are very practical people, right? They want to get their hands dirty. They want to start building, not necessarily like watching hours upon YouTube clips, right? But actually playing along, right? That step-by-step guide to how to get something up and running. You know, you can do these things within an hour, pretty much, once you get started. And these IIoT projects, I've seen from my own experience, is that you can get these really quickly deployed and proving out value very, very quickly as well. So yeah, look, I think
I can also add something to it.
Yeah,
like Phil, you are doing home automation, right? So what you can always do is just buy a smart relay. Like I know one of the relays, Shelly, that I use at my home. I automate everything, what I can. Just buy one relay, costs I think 25 euros. And with this relay, you can monitor your energy consumptions. And then with that, you can also automate when you should turn it on in the morning, when you should turn it off. For example, if you connect this relay to a lamp, you know, in the daytime, you don't need a lamp. You can automate that when it should be turning on. And you can also automate if you have tools like IFTTT. I don't know if you know this one. With this, you can make some if-else conditions. So if you're out of the house, lights are off automatically. If you come back, it's on automatically. So when you use these tools in your house, you will get more motivation, because you're staying in your house all the time. You don't have to go anywhere else. Take your laptop, program this relay, and see how you are saving the energy. So if you realize just by one relay, you save some energy in your house, then you go to the industry and talk about it and save the industry energy. I would say, so things can start from your home as well.
Funny you mentioned that. I just bought 4 Shelly relays tonight before this podcast. The Black Friday, wow. Black Friday sales.
Innovation begins at home, so.
That's well, great. I can definitely like vouch for, you know, building my own Ignition demo suite that I've shared with, you know, hundreds of customers as well. So that was really part of the motivation to start building a home automation system, is actually to share that technology stack within the industry and say, you know, this is possible. You know, not many people have an 8,000 tag system running in their house, right?
Wow.
As well. So yeah, it's just a pretty crazy playground for me to learn all these different I guess technology stacks, and it's been you know, hugely I guess accepted by my family as well. So that's been one of the challenges, actually, is actually the people behind the process, right? Trying to get those insights to them so that they can control the house with their voice, so they can see the visualizations to say that, okay, the dog has been barking this time while we've been away from the house. These kind of outside use cases. But yeah, it's been really exciting. And look, I just want to say thank you, Raj, for coming on the the podcast and talking about the fundamentals of IoT and automation and getting people excited about getting to learn about this industry, because it's really, it is an exciting place. And so if you are listening and you're getting excited about, getting started, definitely check out Code and Compile online as well. And Raj's, huge library of videos on YouTube as well, because I know for certain that I've got a huge amount of value from that as well. And you really kind of paved the way for people like us to really start talking about this.
Thank you, Phil. That's very kind of you to mention that. And yeah, I would say in the end that information is everywhere. Just plan how you want to use your time and just take a big action. This will help you do both places.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks again, Raj. It was an absolute pleasure to hear you, and you left us with lots of homework here to keep investigating. What to learn, where to learn. You've given us some good hints, and we're going to try and put all these links in as well so everyone can be attached to it. And and definitely follow you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, please do that. I'm honored to be in this webinar. Thank you very much for you guys.
Hold on, Phil. Before you close the podcast out, we did mention at the beginning that we were going to have a special offer from Raj on this Code and Compile website. And I'm very excited to hear about this special offer, Raj. What do you have for us and our listeners today?
Well, I'm very happy and honored today for introducing me in your podcast. So I'm very happy to offer 30% discount on any of my course subscription or bundles. This is an exclusive offer because usually I have 20% on my website, but this 30% is exclusively for your customers. So whosoever joins first come, first serve basis, we have only 30 coupons. So just join as soon as you can. You get 30% flat off on my prices.
And then I'll just encourage you once again, as soon as you've finished listening to this podcast, see the show notes, click to Code and Compile, and use the code at the bottom of the show notes to get your 30% off. But as Raj just said, there's only 30 coupons available. Thank you, Raj, for that. And to the listeners, don't forget to subscribe and listen in.
Thank you. And be sure to subscribe to the Unplugged and IoT podcast for more episodes with industry experts like Raj. And follow us on, Spotify and all the other platforms. And please rate us 5-star if you can. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.